Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Talking Tradesmen. In the studio with me today, I have the winner of Channel 4's Inheritance, Cam, who is also a scaffolder, so appropriate for being on The Talking Tradesmen. Cam, cheers for coming down, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, to be fair. I've watched for a long time and it's nice to actually be here.
No, I appreciate it, mate. I appreciate it. Obviously, I'm going to find out a little bit about you, the person behind the TV character, the person behind the social media channels. In fairness, mate, I've followed you for a while. I think it was your TikTok channel I first saw you on.
Yeah, I've been doing TikTok for a long time now.
The funny videos and all that lot. So, in fact, before we move past it and I forget, where can people find you on socials?
So my social medias is Cam Questions, and that's on everything: Instagram, YouTube, which I'm trying to start, and TikTok. So
Fair play. Facebook?
Facebook as well. Yeah, I don't do very well on Facebook, but yeah, I am there still.
Fair play, man. Which is your biggest platform?
I'd say Instagram is my most favoured one because TikTok doesn't do well for me anymore. So
Okay, mate. Sound. I think to start the conversation off, I'll have a little chat about obviously the big current thing, which was Channel 4's The Inheritance, a show that not only that you took part on, but that you won.
yeah.
How was it, mate?
Oh, it was incredible. Honestly, it was one of the maddest experiences of my life. Like, it was so good, so taxing to do. But it's something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. So it was like, I've always wanted to do, the first thing was to go on the radio, which, I mean, I went on the radio to talk about baguettes once. It was like a weird Radio 1 call-in thing.
Yeah.
So I did that. I was like, that's ticked off my list. And then I just went straight into the deep end with a Channel 4 TV show.
Straight in, mate. Yeah, you don't get much deeper than that, to be fair, do you? One of the things I've got to say that I noticed, mate, because I saw some of the press releases and things like that, and I think I even saw one of the other contestants interviewed, and they brought up the perception. So it was like, you know, this tattooed lad who's a scaffolder, they were expecting this sort of you know, kind of person, and then you turn up, you're a nice guy, everyone sort of like fell in love with you on the telly. I think that's a point worth raising, mate, is the perception of you as a tradie versus the reality.
100%. You know what? I get that so much, like just in normal day-to-day life as well. And it's that, you know, sort of joke what people tell you where it's like, oh, I thought you were going to be a dickhead. And it's like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Well, because you're tattoos and you know, you're a scaffolder, and it's like, what does that mean?
It's part of the problem, mate, isn't it? I think
Massively.
that's part of the problem of the perception of the industry, like how it's seen by people that aren't in it. And it struck me that when I read that, I can't, like I say, I'm sure it was one of the other contestants who said that they'd seen you and they were a bit like, oh, Christ,
Yeah,
he
there
looks
was actually a
intimidating.
few of them that had said that to me afterwards. And I love them all and I get on with them now, do you know what I mean? But it just solidifies that fact that, like you say, especially construction, people just seem to think, oh, that's not for us. If you're not in the construction club, then we better stay away from you. It's not all whistling out of people at windows, and do you know what I mean? It's not that anymore. Where it could have been that before, but now with there's, you know, people like me and you, we do content, we're very friendly people. So when people have that perception of you, it's a bit annoying, isn't it, really? But
It is, mate.
I understand it.
Yeah.
Though.
That's why I think it's so important, though, to be fair, giving people a platform like yourself, like you going on and representing the trades the way that you did. That's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Because it's brilliant to get that impression across, but it's also brilliant, I think, for the younger generations to see, because I guess the youngsters coming into the trade, of which there's a big gap at the minute, would possibly look and think, oh, it's a bit intimidating, full of like big scary guys, don't want to get involved in that. And having you out there, you know, I mean, you properly ended up the nice guy because you didn't take the money and run. But obviously, I know a bit about the show, mate, because I did a bit of due diligence on you before you came in today.
Yeah.
But maybe it would be worth you explaining to the audience, the listeners, people that might not have seen the show, what it was about and what went down.
Yeah, so it was there was 13 of us from all over the country, all different backgrounds, jobs, ages, like very, very diverse. And we all went to this huge countryside manor, and we had to the deceased, who was the sort of woman that had lived there before, who was played by Elizabeth Hurley, amazing, played by Elizabeth Hurley, and she'd left all these requests to make money. So what we'd have to do, we'd have to go and do the requests in the day, which were like challenges of all different types, like most of the stuff I had no clue about. And in the evening, we'd then come together, argue who'd done the most. So it's a bit like work, do you know what I mean? When you go back to the gaffer and you're like, he's done nothing today, or he's done like, but we go back, argue about the money. The person that gets selected then goes off into a secret room and divides the money how they see fit.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird concept and such a cool, like, new concept. It's like The Traitors mixed with The Apprentice.
Yeah. That was the vibe I got. Yeah.
So it was just so strange to be a part of it. It was so good.
Because it was a brand new series as well, wasn't it? Never done before, brand new, Channel 4, first people in. And I guess from that perspective, you didn't really know what to expect because it's not like you've watched the... Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's it. You have nothing to go off. Like I watched The Traitors. If it was like The Traitors, I'd go on with the game plan. But I think a lot of us went in there sort of scratching our heads going, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? But when we all got the hang of it and stuff.
How long were you guys filming for?
It was just over 3 weeks in total. That's like if you got to the end.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks. So it was a long time, no phones or nothing like that. And it was...
The whole time, 3 weeks?
The whole time, 3 weeks off your phone, which I absolutely loved.
Beautiful.
Which I didn't think I'd like it because I'm so phone addicted. Like I'm on my... Like if I'm not on my phone, I'm asleep, basically. That's how bad it's got. So that 3 week break, even when I walked past the telly and the news was on, I was like, wow, that's a bit mad. Like, it was just so weird. Like, 'cause I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. So, obviously the show, mate, just so everyone knows, sorry for the spoiler here, Cam won. And you got to the end, mate, you've got the choice of walking away with 100 grand or dividing it between you and the people that remained.
Yeah.
Obviously, you chose to divide the money.
I did, yeah. It's such a mad decision, that. I mean, do you know what? I don't regret it for a second. And that's what a lot of people have asked me that. They're like, what do you think? You know, would you go back knowing what you know now? Would you change your decision and stuff? And absolutely not for me, because like, to me, money is just, it comes and goes. I've never had a massive amount of money, but to me, it's like, I'd rather see 5 of us buzzing together than just me. You spend 100 grand, you sat there in your nice car, in your nice holiday, and then what?
Do you know what, mate? In fairness, 100 grand ain't... It's not like... It's a nice amount of money. Don't get me wrong, if anyone wants to for 100 grand of it, I'll take it. But it's not... I don't think it's long-term life-changing. Short-term, yes. Yeah. But I think you can burn 100 grand rapid these days. You
could burn 100 grand. Like I say, you bought a car, gone on a nice holiday, got a house, whatever, and... You know, put a deposit down on a house, and
exactly.
It's gone.
Yeah. You weren't buying a house, are you, really?
No, not at all. And
so,
just imagine me just being, well, this is how I think. Imagine just being sat there after, and the other 4 people that were in the final with you, they got nothing, and you've just got this. I just think it's like, I'd feel embarrassed.
Yeah. I'm with you. There are people that obviously would have just seen it as, it's a game, I'm taking my bit. But fair play to you, man. Fair play to you.
Oh, cheers.
One of the reasons that I'm excited to get you in here today, obviously the show is the show, the socials are the socials. I want to find out a little bit more about Cam, you know, sort of like who you are, where it began. I know you've got your own mental health story and journey, and as I said to you before, mate, I'm very honoured that you would trust me with that story. So let's get into that, mate. You know, tell us a little bit about who you are and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I grew up in Yorkshire. As people know, I'm like very northern, but I grew up sort of all over the place at the same time. So it was like West Yorkshire, Keighley was originally where I was from. And then we moved to North Yorkshire, which is, I mean, North Yorkshire where we lived is just so isolated. And it's so different from like West to North Yorkshire, so different. And I think a lot of people just think of Yorkshire as like one thing. You know, I'm from Yorkshire, might be from like Hull, Leeds, whatever. But where I lived, it was the sticks.
Yeah.
So it was like me, my sister, my mum, my dad, and then not a shop for like 14, 15 miles. So we were just in this house, just in the middle of nowhere.
Why was that? Was that like a farm type situation?
It was a bit of a farm. It was kind of like a non-working farm. You know, we had a field and stuff like that, but that was, I don't know, my mum and dad just loved houses like that.
Isolation.
Yeah, they like the isolation, but it's like my dad worked away probably Monday to Friday, Saturday sometimes, really? So he was away all week.
Yeah.
And he's a grafter, do you know what I mean? And he really sort of instilled that grafter in me.
What did your dad do?
He works in glass, in the glass industry.
Okay.
So it's like really niche, but he does really well, and like, he's very good at his job and stuff like that. But it just meant, because his office was in Cheshire, so we were in North Yorkshire, so it was a good 3.5, 4 hours drive. Yeah. So it was quite isolated, but I loved it. I loved just...
Like, I mean, in my head, I'm picturing sort of like quad bikes or dirt bikes or something like that.
Sit on lawnmower. That's what I used to ride about. And like, my mum's so relaxed. Like, my mum is one of the most relaxed people in the world. She's like, if you want to go do that, I used to just sit on the roof, you know, like sit on the roof all the time, fishing with like dog biscuits. We had these Newfoundland dogs. I'd just be fishing for them.
Yeah.
So I absolutely loved it. I had such a happy, like, growing up and stuff like that.
How did it work with schools?
I went to a lot of schools. So because of moving from West to North Yorkshire, there was like 3 or 4 schools involved in between that. And then in North Yorkshire, because it's so spaced out, I mean, it was like an hour on the bus in the morning to get to school.
Nice, yeah.
So I was all over the place, but that's what I loved, because I meet new people all the time. And you know, there's some people that grow up and die in the same towns and just know the same people. Whereas for me, it was like, every couple of years we were somewhere else, and you had all these new mates, and it was hard, but it was good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Let's take a quick break there to thank this episode's sponsors, Brewers Decorators Centres. Brewers have got over 200 stores nationwide. They're the premier destination for decorators, and they stock all of the best brands in the industry. Brewers give the best advice in store, and on top of that, you can get 10% off your first and second purchase, plus trade rates and free delivery when you sign up for a Brewers Pro Trade Card. A massive thanks again to Brewers for supporting the Talking Tradesmen podcast and helping us raise mental health awareness throughout construction and beyond. Let's get back to the episode. How did school... I always ask this question, mate, because there's a lot of similar answers. But going into a life in the trades, how did you get, like, how was school?
I was terrible at school.
Oh, yeah.
I really struggled at school. And it's a bit of a stereotype in it, but it's just, I can't sit still. I can't listen. I'm dyslexic, so I struggled a lot with dyslexia in school, because it was like reading things out, or my writing's so poor that I think I just got embarrassed. And then instead of doing my work, I was like, right, I'm just going to distract everybody all the time, and sort of became a bit of a class clown everywhere I went.
Did you get any help?
I did in North Yorkshire, and then we moved to Cheshire. And when I went to school in Cheshire, it was very different. So it's more focused on the smartest kids and who's going to make our school look the best, and everyone else sort of, you go watch a film. And that's what we did.
We'll wheel the telly in
that's
for you.
That's what it was, yeah. It's just, you watch a film and stay quiet, and we'll deal with all this. And I think I just checked out. I fully checked out, because I was like, they don't care. I don't care. Let's just get to the end of this.
Mate, North Yorkshire and Cheshire, I'd imagine, are very different places.
Yeah, it's chalk and cheese, honestly. It was, because I think North Yorkshire is very community. If you're from Yorkshire, then you're fine, basically. It's like a community feel, and everyone sort of helps each other. And then Cheshire, I love Cheshire. Do you know what I mean? I've spent the majority of my life in Cheshire now. But it was that, especially where I went to school, there was a very, if you're smart, you stay in this part, and if you're not, you stay in this part. There was...
that's not good, man,
is
it?
No, well, it wasn't, no, but I mean, I loved it. I had the best time.
Yeah, fair play. Mate, yeah. I had a great time in school, to be fair. It was, I wasn't particularly applied, but I enjoyed it. It was all sports, and once school was done, academia was done for me. That was it. I was like, right, show me what I can do to earn some money. So how did it line up for you? Once you left, did you go? Because I know scaffolder of 10 years.
Yeah, so I did every job under the sun as soon as I left school. So I went to college to do bricklaying, actually, after a long break of doing nothing. I went to college, did bricklaying for about 2 weeks, and I was like, this is good, but am I just going to be building walls and knocking them down for 2 years? Because if I am, I'm gone. And they were like, yeah, pretty much that is what you're doing. And I was like, right, I'm gone then. I couldn't stand building something that I was proud of, and then just being like, I'll take it back down and build it back up. Which, I mean, ironically, that is scaffolding, but it's. But when you're doing bricklaying, I enjoyed it, but not enough to stay there for 2. I thought, I don't have to be here. I'm getting paid somewhere.
Yeah. How did you end up on like scaffing?
It's weird actually. I was working on a farm at the time, and I just used to stink all the time. And I was like 17, 18, and like it was just about a time where you start going out all the time, and you know, all my mates are just like, Cam, you just smell of farm all the time. Like, and we're trying to be nice, but like you stink of farm. And then one of my best mates, he was a scaffolder, and he was like, look, I've got a job. It's just me and you. And we're just going to go around in a van. It was just on price work. We're going to go around the van. You just labour on me. And we can just be having a laugh all day. So I thought, yeah, instantly did that. I think it was like a tenner an hour at a time. And I was just like, I don't know what to do with a tenner an hour. And that was literally the start of it. And we've just done it since.
Funny that, mate. I remember when I was a kid growing up, because my old man was a drinker. So I kind of spent my childhood in a pub. And there was this one guy that used to come in, Anvil, I used to call him. He was a farrier.
Yeah.
But I always, mate, you could smell him before you saw him. Burnt animal hair. Fuck me.
Yeah,
like,
I can imagine.
And when I say you could smell it, like I'm sure his personal hygiene was great if you ever watch this. But but the smell of like the burnt, obviously the burning of the hooves, whatever it was, mate.
Yeah.
It was like, it was something chronic.
It gets in your skin, it gets in your car.
In your pores,
I know, yeah.
It's terrible.
To be fair, I wrote a pros and cons list when I left the farm because I loved the farm. I was like, I was fit as a fiddle, literally up, walking around all day, doing this, that, and the other. And just at the top of the cons list, it just said the smell. And I was like, actually, forget the pros, circle that. I can't be doing this.
Mate, you say, I mean, that farming's hard work. Mate, scaffolding ain't easy.
No. I don't know why I keep going for the hardest jobs I can possibly do.
It's some graft. What sort of scaffolding do you do? Big scale, small scale?
So I spent the majority of my sort of scaffolding at like doing street work, car factories and stuff like that. And that was at quite a big firm. Now it's just 6 of us that work at a factory. And it's literally just here and there sorts of jobs where it's just like, you know, they need to get to these pipes. Can you get us a tower up to there? So it's a lot smaller, but I love it so much. Like,
Well, I know, obviously, most of us... See, the thing is, doing this podcast, with focusing on mental health in construction, you can be a little bit almost like you're dragging it down all the time, because I speak to a lot of people and we talk about the problems with it, but most of us love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, most people, you go through hardships and it's a case of working out how to manage those. But there's not many people that would actually go, you know, I want to be out. A lot of people move around the jobs.
Yeah.
But they just sort of go, right, I'm done. I want to be a fucking delivery driver or whatever it might be. A lot of people do love the banter, the camaraderie within the trades. I want to get into your story, essentially, mate, because I know that when you reached out to me, you said that you'd had your battles with mental health, and because you are like bubbly, funny, you're the fun character, people might not necessarily know about that. Yeah. So essentially, man, what happened?
Yeah, so it's a crazy one for me, like, because like you say, I'm always positive, upbeat, this, that, and the other, but I think it's with a platform that I've got now. I think it's like so important to get this across, because if it just helps somebody, then, and that's something I could have just locked this away, put it in a box, and been done with it a long time ago. But the fact that I want to get it out now is just, you know, I think it'll help a lot of people. So, I mean, I've had a really weird experience with mental health anyway, because up to the age of about 19, I'd say it was just nothing to me. Yeah. And it's like, I know, you know, people were saying, you know, men need to talk, this, that, and the other. That was sort of just starting around by the time I was about 19. And I remember one day I was driving to Alton Towers with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and we were driving down the road, and I remember I seen this bloke, and he was walking down the bank, and I was actually driving down the M6, and he was walking down the bank, and obviously I was just thinking, what is he doing? I was like, what is he walking down the bank for? Anyway, so I got closer and closer to him, and as I get right up to him, I was looking him in the eye. We were that far apart, and I was thinking, what is this bloke? I don't realise he's dropped something, and as I drove past him, I looked in my rearview mirror, and he just walked out into the M6. This poor, I think it must have been a lorry driver or something, and he just walked straight out. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Did he get hit by a?
Straight, well, probably the car behind me. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that and I was just like, it just blew my mind. I was just like, I remember saying, how can anyone be at the point where they're doing that? Because I wasn't educated in anything to do with mental health. So it shocked me because I thought, there's no way someone can get to that. I was like, straight away, how selfish, he's probably got a family out. I can't believe this bloke's done it. And it was a really big moment for me, that, because it sort of, I had so many thoughts and feelings about it with nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, well, I can't talk to no one about that. I don't know what to do. Like my girlfriend at times, she was in bits, crying her eyes out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So anyway, that stuck with me for a lot of years.
Mate, we're not designed to see that. You know what I mean? Like that's, I would imagine, I'd be very surprised if you hadn't got PTSD from that. We're not designed to see those things. And like you quite rightly said, you have all those unprocessed thoughts, but I would imagine it would be hard for you to then sort of reach out and go, well, I've seen this horrific thing happen to this person. Now I need help because of that. You probably didn't even feel that you needed help, but then it just festers.
Oh, 100%. And I think it was the fact that we'd made eye contact probably seconds before. So it to me, I was like, I was probably the last person he saw.
But he was...
And I was probably looking back at him really confused and like...
So he potentially sort of... I mean, thank God it wasn't, but it literally could have been you. So it could have been a case of like, he could have stepped out in front of you.
That I was honestly... Because at the time, obviously it happens... That's a sort of slow-mo version of it. But as the time, it happens really fluidly. And I kept thinking, imagine if he just stepped in front of my... To be fair, I think it was a girl in a Fiat 500 behind. I think that's what it was, because it was like wagons, and then this girl in a Fiat 500, and I think that's what ultimately you got hit by. But I just thought...
Jesus Christ, man.
That really sort of started the cogs in my head turning about mental health, and I was like, what is it? Crazy. Yeah, so after that was, like I say, when I was about 19, and it sat with me for years, to be honest. I thought about it quite a lot, and I never sort of mentioned it to anyone, because I was like, mad, but it really opened my eyes to people struggle massively. And then if you fast forward right to 2021, it was my turn to struggle. Do you know what I mean? And so
we're talking, is this in amongst COVID, isn't it? 2020,
yeah, just after COVID.
Yeah.
So I'd actually been away solo traveling in Australia through COVID, which is not the time to go to Australia. So yeah, that's the sort of person that I am though. I'm like, go on holidays by myself, happy to travel anywhere by myself. I fly to the other side of the world on my own, and sort of that was pre-COVID. And then 2021 hit. I've now got a missus I'm dead happy with. I'm working, still working all the time and stuff like that. And then just one day, I remember I went out the night before, as I did quite a lot. I was drinking, and anyway, woke up the next day, and I was like, I feel rough, but it was a different kind of rough, and it was like, it was anxiety. But I'd not gone out and made a tit of myself or nothing like that. But it was just this huge ball of anxiety in my stomach. And I thought, oh God, this is what happens when you drink, and this is what... And then, anyways, the day goes by, and I feel like it's all day. And I'm like, this isn't right now. This isn't a hangover. This is like something really sort of different. And I couldn't eat nothing. I was being sick. I was like, what is this? And then it didn't go away. So the day after, it was still there with that same intensity. And like my missus was away at the time as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've never experienced anxiety like that before. And it carried on with that same intensity. And I thought, this is really getting bad. And the days went on, and it was getting worse. And I was thinking, this isn't nothing to do with the drinking now. This
Was
is
there anything at all in the build up? Like looking back now, were there any warning signs or?
I'd say looking back now, I was actually very depressed, but I didn't realise that I was depressed.
Yeah.
I was very, very overweight. Did no exercise, nothing like that. Sort of spent all my days eating takeaways and sort of lying about and just thinking I was fine and, you know, going out drinking quite a bit. Not any more than I'd say, you know, just like Saturday night, but probably every Saturday night, if you know, or a few days in a week. And like, I've never struggled with drinking itself. It's always just been something, you know, like just a social thing.
Yeah.
So, because trust me, I did so much deduction in, you know, so like, what could it have been? What was this, that, and the other? And I mean, I'll tell you, it gets so ridiculous into what I think, you know, you think, is this causing it? Is this causing it? But I had this anxiety. It wouldn't go away. And we're into like the second week now. But to the point where I feel like, do you know when somebody says to you, they're like, we need to talk about something and it's not good. And that instant drop you get.
Yeah.
It was that, but frozen. So it was that feeling of when someone says that, but 24/7. And I just couldn't get rid of it. And it was like, my adrenaline was surging all the time. I was like, this isn't right. You know, carried on going to work. And I was struggling at work. And like, what can you tell the lads at Scaffolding? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, there's about 30 of us and everyone just has a laugh at each other all day, taking a piss out of each other all day. I'm like, well, I can't tell anyone about this. Because I didn't know it was anxiety at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, fucking hell, I'm just feeling really scared almost. You know, it was like a scared feeling because it was like that fight or flight, but constantly in flight.
Yeah. So you get locked in fight or flight, don't you?
Yeah, but like ridiculously, like it's so intense. So yeah, I've keep going to work, and then it was actually I was at a job in where was it? I was at a job quite far away. We'd have to drive there, so I drove I think 2 or 3 hours to get there. And we were working in a factory, and we're in this induction, and I remember thinking, I need to get out. I need to get out of this induction now. I was like, I can't be in here. And it was like I was being chased by a lion. Like everyone else is having a laugh and a joke.
Panic attack.
Which I now know to be a panic attack. But everyone's having a laugh and a joke. I'm thinking, I need to get out of this room right now. But I couldn't because we had to get inducted for this job. So I'm sat there. I feel like I'm going to be sick. I'm sweating. The room's spinning. I'm like in this state of I need to get out of this room right now. Luckily, I managed to hold on just enough to get inducted. And then when we've gone to do the job, I think I spent 6 hours throwing up just in the toilet.
Fucking hell.
And obviously everyone's like, where are you? You're taking a piss, this, that, and the other. Like, what are you doing? I'm just going, I've just had a dodgy sandwich or something, I think, because my stomach's gone. And everyone's like, well, you know, come on, let's get this work done. I couldn't leave that bathroom. I was literally on my hands and knees being sick in the bathroom for so long, like all day.
I mean, not that it. See, I went through like the start of my own mental health journey was like a bit of realization going through severe anxiety and panic attacks. Funnily enough, I became fascinated by like, isn't it amazing in a negative way? But isn't it amazing by what the power of your thoughts can do to have physical manifestations? So like the sweating, the throwing up, because it's your body basically going fight or flight. I need to purge because I'm under attack here. I need to get the fuck out.
That's such that's,
you get locked. But yeah, it was how I overcame my own situation was jumping into education, so like studying psychology.
Yeah.
Because of that, because I became fascinated. I was like, if I break this down and I go back a few steps, I'm like, my body is reacting physically, but the only thing that's actually causing that is what's going on in here.
Yeah.
And then it was like, fucking hell, that's powerful. Like, that's incredible.
The power of your mind is beyond any comprehension that any of us can think.
Yeah.
And I think that day was a bit of a sort of, I said to my best mate, luckily my best mate was working with me, and I said, listen, I'm going to have to go home. I can't be here like at all. I can't drive the van back because it wouldn't be safe.
Yeah.
Like, so we came up with something between us. It was like, oh yeah, he's got food poisoning, so he needs to go home. So me gaffer at a time. I really got on with him. He was like a good mate of mine. And he was like, yeah, get yourself off. My mate drove me back to my girlfriend's house. And she was like, what's going on with it? And I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I actually don't know what's going on. But I still didn't mention I've been feeling anxious or anything like that. I was just like, I must have had something dodgy to eat. And that's what I kept, because I half believed it myself. Because I was like, I must be ill.
You look for a rational reason, didn't you?
Yeah, there's no other way that I could be throwing up all the time or feeling sick all the time. I was like, I must be ill. So I was like, carried on. And that weekend, we went to like a big shopping, like outlet sort of place. And we'd gone there and I was just feeling terrible the whole drive there. And I was like, why am I still feeling like this? We're going into week 3 at this point. I'm feeling awful. I think we went round 2 shops and then I had, honestly, the biggest panic attack that I've ever had in my life. This was the main panic attack that it felt like I was trapped in a room that was filling up with water and everyone was going, get out of this room now. And I was like, I can't. And I was like, it was like my brain was trying to jump out my own head. And I remember I actually laid down behind a bush in the middle of the shopping place. I mean, my girlfriend at the time, she was like, I know what's going on. You're having a panic attack. Like, I've dealt with these before.
Oh, that's good.
And luckily, she was so good to me. She was like, I won't say anything. I'm just there if you need me. And I just remember being, I wouldn't even say scared. I'd say terrified because I was like, I can't stop this.
Yeah.
And there's no way to stop. But how do you stop this? Because if you hurt your leg, you could go bandage it or something.
Yeah.
If this is going on in your head to the point where you can't even think straight. You're just going, get out of here, get out of here. And it's like, get out of where? I'm outside.
Do you know what the mad thing though, Cam? Like with you saying that, like if you've hurt your leg, you'd know what to do. This is the crazy thing. I've said this before. So if you were playing football and you broke your leg, what you wouldn't do is go, do you know what? I'm going to go home and fix this myself. But when it's our mental state and our mental health, we do that. You go like, fuck, I'm broken, I'm breaking, there's something wrong. Best keep it to myself and not tell anyone. Yeah, when it's our physical health, it's like, need a doctor. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone in sight, aren't you?
Exactly.
Like, I've done to my hands. Yeah. No, that is it. And I'd still, even though me missus was like, I know you've had a panic attack, you've been sort of really withdrawn and like, what's going on? Because I'm, loudest person going, I'm this, that, bubbly, this, that, and the other. And I've now shrunk into, I'm just worried in my own head. And I'm like, I can't speak to anyone about this because my main worry was, as soon as I tell someone about this or how I'm feeling, they're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Then it opens this huge door to everyone going, oh, just be careful of Cam because I think he's having a bit of a bad time at the minute. So I was like, if I can keep this sorted, it's come out of nowhere. It's been 3 weeks. And it'll go tomorrow and I'll be absolutely fine. It absolutely didn't go tomorrow, do you know what I mean? And I remember I went home that night, I went back to mine and I was like, just terrified that I was about to have another one, another panic attack. And that stuck with me for so long. It wasn't having a panic attack, it was having one like that.
Yeah. Because
the first one at the factory I was working at, that was manageable. The one I had at the shopping centre, it was like, do you know when you see those videos of someone going crazy on a train and everyone's going, there's nutcase on a train? That's how I actually felt at the time, where you don't know what you're doing. And I wasn't doing anything bad, like I said, I was lying behind a bush on the floor, but like, that's not normal. That's not normal behaviour.
Yeah.
People don't go shopping to go lying on a bush on the floor. And it was really sort of battering my head at home. And I stopped going to work. I said to my boss, I was like, I need a week off. I said to my missus at the time, I'm just gonna stay at home for a bit. And I was sort of scrolling through the internet constantly. What is wrong with me? Why do I feel like I'm sat behind my own eyes? Like, why do I feel like someone's trying to get me? Why am I paranoid? And never, ever, ever would I say to someone, look on the internet.
Dr. Google ain't kind.
It fueled it so much because it was like, people, it's like, oh, this is like schizophrenia, or this is like, you know, you're having a mental breakdown, you need to go see a psychiatrist and stuff. And I was thinking, that's not me. That's not what's happening. I'm just unwell. I've had some bad food, or I've been out drinking too much, and I need to relax and stuff like that. But it was after that week, I'd had the week off, and it just wasn't changing from day one.
So we're talking like 4 weeks.
We're talking
into
like,
this now.
we're a month into it now.
Yeah.
And I'm still got that same feeling from that day I woke up. And I was like, oh shit, this is getting seriously, seriously bad. And I tried to go shopping at the supermarket, and I walked in the shop, and I immediately come straight back out. I was like, I can't go in there. I can't go in there. What happens if I pass out? What happens if I have a panic attack and by myself?
Yeah.
You know, people are going to think I'm mental. People are probably going to start filming me, think like, what's this guy doing? Imagine if I was lying on the floor in the middle of Sainsbury's or something, and someone's like, and I'm thinking all these things, and I'm thinking, right, I've got to get out of there. So now I can't go into a supermarket. So my brain's thinking, you can't do that. You can't drive. You can't go to work. You can't go see your missus. Stay at home. Home is safe, because at home, nobody can get to you. You know, I was living with my parents, and they would just kept saying to me, what's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? And I was going, I'm fine. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I was like, look, I'm going out down the shops, and I just literally stand in my back garden and just like pretend that I was going out, because I was so worried that if people thought I was having a bad time mentally, that they were going to start getting really worried about me.
Yeah.
And thinking, I thought, this was the thing I kept thinking. Once that door's open, it's never, ever going to be able to shut again. And it's always going to be tiptoe around Cam. And, you know, oh, don't say that, because what if he's a bit... And that was obviously not the case, but that was what I was thinking at the time.
I think that's one of the problems, mate, about us lads in the trades, is that it's not communicating, not talking about these things. Do you know what I mean? Like, hopefully you doing this kind of thing today, Cam, will go a long way to breaking that down. That's why it's so powerful and important doing these podcasts, because hopefully it will just reach that person that feels like he can't talk. And when there's somebody like you who's out there going, listen, I went through this, you know, it does real work. You know what I mean? Because you won't be the only one. There'll be a lot of people out there that have been through the similar sort of thing. And part of it is like, with you being, I guess, your typical like alpha male lad in the trades, scaffolding as well, which is like an extra tough trade.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I can't say that I'm struggling here. I can't say that I'm weak, because like you said, you got your peer group that you're concerned about and stuff like that. And obviously it's not a weakness. It's just, you know, the mind is a wonderful, powerful and fucking scary thing at times. And sometimes we just need that little bit of help and support. But yeah, it's, I really appreciate you opening up, man. It's really important. So
yeah, no, this is the only reason I'm doing it, because, you know, this happened a good few years ago, and that could be the end of it. But I remember at the time thinking, because it gets quite a lot worse, but at the time, when I was looking through the internet, I never seen anything about, I've come out the other side of this. I've never seen, you know, and now I feel better. It was just forums of people saying, I can't leave my house. You know, my family's left me, my girlfriend's left me. I'm stuck in my house. I can't even walk out the front door. And that was all I saw.
yeah,
I didn't see one successful story. And I don't know whether that was because the algorithm was pushing me that way, because maybe of how I was searching for things. But I didn't see one story that made me feel good. And I was like, oh, right, so this is me now. This is me forever. And I remember I rang up my gaffer, and I told him that I'd been to the doctors and I got vertigo.
right.
I said, I've got vertigo, because I just Googled symptoms, and it was like, I remember one of the symptoms of anxiety is vertigo.
Right.
So then I didn't know what that was. I then Googled that, and it was like, you know, you're off balance, this, that, and the other. I said, there's something up with me here. I've got vertigo. I can't come back in for a while because I need to sort of deal with this.
Wait,
and
I guess vertigo as a scaffolder is a big no, isn't
well,
it, really?
yeah, it's definitely not. It doesn't help. But he was just like, yeah, fine, whatever. Like, don't worry about it. And I thought, well, that's workbox stuff. So I lied to him. I lied to him about what was going on, because I thought, yeah, vertigo, he can tell the lads that's what's going on. And they won't worry about it. They won't think about it again. And then I remember I went downstairs to my mum and dad, and I was going to tell them the same thing. I was going to say, you know, I've got this vertigo. Have you heard of vertigo before? And I don't know what happened, but I walked downstairs and my mum was there and she went, "You all right?" I was about to spin this vertigo story. And instead of doing that, I said, "No." I was like, "No, I'm not all right." I was like, "I'm having a really, really bad time of it." And she was like, "Why? What's going on?" And I just explained. I was like, "I've been feeling so anxious. I was being sick 4 or 5 times a day, every day, just non-stop, because I couldn't leave the house. When I did leave the house, I had to immediately return back to the house. So I tried to go on a walk or something. As soon as I got down the road, I'd be like, fuck, I need to get back to the house. I'm going to pass out." Like, it was, so I was now trapped in my own house, basically. And I remember having that conversation with my mum, and she was like, "That's fine. Let's sort it out." Like, what? I was like, "Yeah, but I'm going crazy." And she was like, "You're not going crazy." She was like, "You're just struggling with your mental health." And I was like, "I'm not struggling with my mental health." And I was still in such denial. I was like, "Something's happened. I don't know what that thing is. Something's happened. I'm now unwell, but my mental health's fine."
Yeah.
I don't know why I was so adamant that I was okay. When who can't leave the house is throwing up all day long, can't even speak to people on the phone or text or like anything, and still deny that I'm struggling.
It's that stigma, mate, isn't it? It's that stigma that not wanting to accept. I think for me, like, up until I educated myself around mental health, I used to think that mental health was mental illness. So if you said that you were struggling with your mental health, it meant you were mentally ill. And by mentally ill, I'm talking about, you know, like diagnosed conditions like schizophrenia and psychosis and, you know, all of those very serious conditions. I didn't know the difference between the two. I thought, you know, so if you put your hand up and you go, "Yeah, my mental health," it's like, right, padded cell situation.
That's exactly what I thought, though. That's exactly what I thought. I thought, once the toothpaste's out the tube with this, now my mum and dad know, and this is me forever now. So this is, Cam is full of anxiety, tiptoe around him, but it got to the point where I was like, I have to tell somebody because it's getting ridiculous. Like, I can't even go down to doctors to pretend, so they can pretend, you know, diagnose me with vertigo. I was just like, I've got to tell somebody. So I told my mum, and she spoke to my dad, and then that was the last I'd heard of it from them for a while. It was just sort of a bit more checking on me and stuff like that. And then out of nowhere, because I did 3 things. I'd sit in my bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I'm going crazy. I'd stand outside, chain smoking cigarettes, because it's the only thing I could do in the garden, or I'd be being sick. That was the 3 things I did for weeks. So I remember I was out in the garden once, and my best mate, he just appeared out of nowhere. Bear in mind, I've not seen him in 3 weeks at this point. And he's just like, "What's going on? Like, nobody's seen you. No one's heard from you. You've not been in work," because I worked for him as well. "You've not been in work. Apparently you got vertigo. What even is that?" And then I was just like, "Just sit down." And I was like, "Just sit down." I was just like, "I need to tell you this." And I went through it. I was like, "Look, I'm struggling. I've not got vertigo. I'm being sick all day. I'm full of anxiety. I don't know what to do. Like, I was so scared, because I was so scared that this was me forever." And I was like, "I'm sorry, but like, I can't leave the house." And to be fair, we had such a good chat. And he was like, "Just, why didn't you say anything?" I was like, "'Cause I didn't want you to think I was mad." Because that's how we're conditioned. It's like, as soon as, like you said, you know, as soon as you've got poor mental health, you then think people are going to think he's mad. But it's not. It's just, I was unwell, but it was just because my mental health wasn't well. And because I spent so long denying it and going, nothing's up with me, and there was very clearly something up with me, that it just prolonged and made it worse.
Yeah, mate. When you carry, there's a few analogies that I've used in the past, but essentially it's like it's carrying a weight, and it's a weight that initially that you can carry. So, like, I don't know, any object you want to pick, like a manageable weight. But if you were to carry that manageable weight and say hold it out in front of your arm for a prolonged period of time, that weight just gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier until the point you physically can't carry it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know how to put it down, and that's what it is with a lot of mental health, it's like potentially your burden was that thing that happened when you were 19, and then you got to hold that weight for 20 years or 10 years or 3 years or however many years. That weight just gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier until it literally crushes you.
Yeah.
And then it manifests in those outward symptoms of that. But when you're being crushed by an invisible weight that you don't understand, what do you do?
That's it. And I think I was sort of almost looking for a reason for something that kicked it off, because I was like, this doesn't just happen. You don't just wake up riddled with anxiety. I was like, I was traveling the world on my own a year ago, and now I can't even go into a fucking supermarket. I was like, how have I got here? Like, there's got to be a reason, and I just couldn't find a reason big enough. Well, I mean, I didn't know anything about it really before this had happened to me, so I was just non-stop Googling, and I was learning and researching and things like that. I was like, every time something's happened, there's always been something that's triggered somebody for it to happen. And I was like, and that's nothing for me at the time. And I just like, I've woke up and now I'm this. And this dragged on so long that at this point, I'd not been to work in about a month and a half. I had no money. I had no money whatsoever. I was fighting a losing battle every single day I woke up. And it got to the point where I'd wake up, stand in the garden smoking cigarettes, lying in my bed, wondering why what's happening, and being sick. And this was every single day of my life. And from when I woke up to when I went to sleep, the only rest I got was when I went to sleep. But it got to the point where I was having vivid nightmares, so I couldn't sleep.
What were the nightmares about?
The nightmares were of being awake, which is really, it's a really weird concept. But the nightmares were me just lying in bed, awake, but the fact that I couldn't sleep. So I was literally...
So your nightmare essentially was just being awake, living the life you were living.
Exactly. And
become a living nightmare.
And I had no sleep.
That's literally the definition, mate, of a living nightmare, Cam, isn't it?
That's what it was. And it was... I don't know how much sleep I was getting because I didn't know what was going on. I remember I took a picture of my face, and I remember looking at it, and I was just like, I actually, you know when people say you don't recognise yourself? I was like, what is going on? I had a beard like this, massive beard like this. I was so overweight, and I was like, this is literally all I can do now. This is my life now forever. And to be fair, I went to the bathroom. I was sick again.
Try, man. Take your time.
Yeah. So I remember I went to the bathroom. I was sick again, and I just dropped down by the side of the toilet, and I was just going, oh God, it's hard, isn't it?
It's all right, man.
Do you know what? I've not thought about it since or said it.
No, I can see you going back there, mate. Just take your time.
Yeah. And I remember saying, I was like, I'm going to have to kill myself, because this is me now forever. And I was like, I don't want to. I really don't want to, because I love life so much. But I was like, this is it. I was like, if I wake up every day and this is my life, I don't even want to kill it. It was intrusive thoughts in my head saying, this is what you're going to have to do, because you can't, what's this? You're waking up to go back to sleep. You know, I couldn't leave the house. I had no money. I was racking up debt. I couldn't see my friends, didn't want to speak to anyone. All I was doing was being sick in the toilet all day and smoking in the garden.
So you just couldn't see another way out.
It brought me back to thinking, that bloke on the motorway, he must have been here.
Fucking hell, yeah.
And it really brought it home to me. I was like, he must have been here, because where I am, I just couldn't think of anything else. I was like, it's not getting better. We're probably getting on over 2 months now. And it just wasn't getting better. And I was thinking, where do we go from here? I've tried everything. I've tried talking to people, tried sharing it. I was like, and it's always the joker of the group, innit? That they say, I haven't, and all these things were coming into my head. And I was like, yeah, it's always the joker of the group. And it's going to be me. And I can't believe it's going to be me. Because why is it going to be me? What have I done wrong? I was trying to think, I've done something, haven't I? I've done something wrong. I'm getting punished in a way. But it wasn't. I was just really unwell. And I needed to talk to somebody about it in a proper way. Because I was telling people, but I wasn't being honest. I was still saying, I just feel a bit shit. I'm just going to stay in my room. But it was like, no, I'm just watching Netflix in my room. I wasn't watching Netflix in my room. I was staring at the roof in my room going, what's going on?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mate, a day with poor mental health is horrific. You're up to like 6 weeks, 2 months to live in your own head in that time, and literally, like you were saying, like a living nightmare. When you can't understand the reason for suffering the way that you were suffering, therefore you can't work out an exit plan or a plan of action. It's hopelessness that sets in, isn't it? It's that black.
That's the perfect word for it, because there was no hope at all, because I'd started off with I'll be better soon. I'll be better tomorrow.
Give it a few days, I'll be all right.
Maybe the end of the week max. At this point, I'm literally, like you say, in a living nightmare where I'm like, this is it. This is literally it. It's not getting better. Me and my girlfriend at the time had split up because it was too much. It was too much. I got so much like love for that girl. She was amazing, but I wouldn't want it to be around me because I was a mess and I couldn't be sorted out. And my parents couldn't help me. My friends couldn't help me. Nobody could help me. I was like, right, I'm going to have to help me. Or if I'm going to end up doing this, I'm going to go out swinging because I owe that to myself. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I had no hope in the world. I was sure that was what was going to happen. But I was like, if it's going to happen anyway, let's just try and get through it somehow and just try and do one good thing. I'd not had a win in months. I'd not had one single win. And the win to me then would have been walking down the end of the road.
Yeah.
And I'd not had that for months. And I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm on my own now. I'm going to go out the house. I'm going to walk down to the end of the road. I'm going to walk down a canal. And I remember I got to the end of the estate and I was like, that's enough for me. I was like, I'm done. Straight back to my house. And I thought, I failed again. Whatever. I just keep failing. I can't do anything. And then the next day I went out and walked a little bit further and I was like, these are wins. I was like, these are wins. These aren't failures because I'm walking a little bit further. And I was like, look, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that for what it was, a slight win. I ended up going to the doctors about it. Our NHS is amazing. They are not equipped to deal with people with mental health problems.
Yeah.
And they kept saying to me, we're going to put you on antidepressants. I said, I'm not depressed. I've got anxiety and I don't know what's going on. And they were like, all right, so we're going to start in antidepressants. And I don't know why. Bear in mind, I'm hopeless. I was going, I don't want antidepressants because I'm not depressed. It's not the problem. You're not helping me because that's not going to work. That's what nothing makes sense in your head at the time. You're like, I'm not depressed, so give me something for anxiety. And they were like, there is nothing that we can give you for that. And I was like, for God's sake. So I refused. They were trying to give me sertraline, I think. And I know a lot of people on sertraline, and it works for some, doesn't work for others. But for some reason, I don't know why, I just kept refusing sertraline. I was like, I don't want to get it. So my mum said, look, she's a child therapist, my mum. And she was like, I've got friends in therapy. I want you to go and see a therapist. I was like, I'm not going to see a therapist. I can't leave the house. How am I going to go see a therapist? And she was like, look, there's 8 sessions that you can do. So just please, like, go and try to do them. I'll take you there. I'll drop you off. I'll pick you up. And like, even the car ride for me was like, they were taking me to go and do life in prison. You know, that's how little I wanted to be in the car. But I was like, I've got to do this because if I don't do this, I'm just confined to the house anyway. So I remember going to see this woman and I sat in her office. I said, I can't sit in this office. I was like, I'm going by. Walked straight out the door. Literally sat down, walked out the door. And she was like, well, we can sit outside. Do you want to sit outside? I was like, well, I can sit in my garden, yeah. So I'll sit outside. It was on like a bit of a farm as well, this place. So it was quite nice. And I remember the whole sort of therapy session was just her saying, right, just close your eyes and just tell me what you can hear. I was thinking, what is she doing? Why am I here? This is pointless. I mean, I'm at the end of my tether with life, and you're asking me to say I can hear planes. And obviously, I've got no idea if therapy works, but that was like the whole session. I was like, that's done what? Get me back home immediately. But like, little did I know, she was trying to ground me.
Yeah.
Because I was so up in the air, and so like, I was so dissociated all the day long. Like, I was just dissociated, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I remember getting home, and I was like, all right, I've done that. I've been out of the house for quite a while there. I was like, I'm going to log that because I've been out of the house for quite a while. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to do a walk. So I did a walk and I just carried on going. And I walked right around my village at the time. And I was like, oh, mad, I've just walked around my village. And that was like another win for me. So I was like logging these wins. They were tiny in comparison. I mean,
mate, listen, when somebody is in that position and that level of blackness and hopelessness, that's not tiny. That's epic. That's the world. You know what I mean? Having that win is sometimes the difference. So it's not tiny at all, mate.
No, I know. I mean, like in comparison, obviously, like when you look back on it now, like at the time, that was literally, I'd get home from doing that and be like, look what I've just done then to me, but obviously just to myself because it made no sense to no one else. And I was like, look what I've just done then. And bear in mind, this was the main turning point for me. So I've been to a couple of therapy sessions now. I'm able to be out of the house and talking to her. That's pretty much it. And I remember it was the weirdest thing ever. So I'm still being sick a lot at this point. And I remember lying in my bed and it was absolutely pissing it down outside. And I was just lying there staring at the roof. And I was like, am I going to go on a walk? I'm going to go on a run. I did not know how to run. I was very overweight, never ran or nothing like that. I was like, I'm going to go on a run and see how I get on. Little did I know, I went out, started running. I think I ran a kilometre and I was about to throw up everywhere. But I'd got a kilometre away from my house. I'm soaking wet through. My train is literally full of water. I'm just running through puddles because remember at this time, I'm still not there like properly in the head. So I'm just running and I'm going, I'm going to do 2K. I was like, carried on running. I didn't even stop. I was just going, I'm going to do 2K. Just looking at my watch. I'm going to do 2K. And then I started to have a panic attack. And I was like, I need to get home now. And this was honestly the best, probably one of the best days of my life, to be fair. And I got out there and I'd done 2K and I was having this panic attack. Go home. And I just started going, fuck off. And I'm screaming. I'm going, fuck off. No, I'm not doing that. And I carried on running. And I must have looked mental. This guy's running down the road, piss wet through, screaming, fuck off. I'm just going, no, fuck off. And I'm running. My legs are burning. My legs are literally on fire. And I'm like, I need to get home. I got to the top of this hill, pitch black, pissing it down. And I looked at my watch and I've run 5K. I've done a 5K run. Bear in mind, I don't run.
Never run, yeah.
I don't run. I've just spent the past 3 kilometres screaming at my brain to fuck off. And you'd have thought you'd have genuinely thought I'd have just won a marathon in front of everybody. I was literally like, answering me. I was like, I can't believe it. I've just run 5K. I was like, I've just run 5K. And I was like, fuck you, brain. I've just run 5K. And I swear to God, that was my first real win in months. And that was it, at that point, I went, I'm not having this. I was like, I'm not having this. I can run 5K. You're telling me I can't even leave the house, I can run 5K. I can run 5K. You're telling me I can't even leave the house, I can run 5K. It was then I realised that it was my brain telling me that I was really unwell. And I was unwell, but it was my brain telling me. And it was then I realised I could separate the two things. What I was thinking is not what I was feeling. And the phrase, you're not your thoughts, is what my therapist told me a lot. And she was like, you are not your thoughts. That's intrusive thoughts. The things that are telling you, you're going to end up killing yourself.
Yeah.
You can't leave the house. You can't go to Sainsbury's. You can't do this, that, and the other. That was not me. I thought that was me. But it was when I'd done this run, I went, well, it can't be me, because I was telling it to fuck off, and I was carrying on, and I was fine. And it was that night, I mean, it was still the start of a long, long sort of journey, but that night was I smiled the whole way home. I was smiling ear to ear. I hadn't smiled in months, and I was smiling all the way home.
That's so powerful, mate, honestly. It's like what played out there was like the final round in a battle between you and your brain. Essentially, it was am I going to let this win? Is it going to consume me entirely, or am I going to literally tell it to fuck off? Which you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. It's a really powerful story, and mate, you're spot on the you are not your thoughts thing. I've spoken to a few people that have suffered with various things, like say OCD, and part of OCD is intrusive thoughts, and learning to separate the two. That it's weird, isn't it? Thinking like you are not your brain, because if you're not your brain, then what are you? But when you can learn to step back and examine a thought system and be like, that's weird, isn't it? Why have I just thought that?
Yeah.
It's a bizarre thing, but it's powerful.
Yeah, the you are not your thoughts thing is literally the most important thing to me, or especially at the time it was. Because like I say, I was thinking, my brain was saying, you're going to have to kill yourself. And I was saying, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I was arguing with myself at the time, and I was thinking, oh God, now I'm schizophrenic as well, because I'm now talking to my own brain. No, that's a good thing. You need to realise that, especially with anxiety, anxiety is the fear of what could happen, that it hasn't even happened.
Yeah.
But when you sort of you talk back to it and you go, no, you get that thing, isn't it, like Call of the Void, where you stood on a balcony and you look over and go, fucking hell, I wouldn't want to fall off that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it was, talking to me. But because I was in a high state of anxiety for so long, I couldn't differentiate. So when you do that on a balcony and you go, oh my God, imagine jumping off that, and you go, oh, I wouldn't know, and you sit back down and you have your beer.
Yeah.
That's what a normal reaction is. But somebody that's suffering with anxiety can't stop obsessing on the first thought.
Yeah.
And that was something that over time I'd sort of really started to learn. And do you know what, a massive thing that helped me, and if anyone suffers with anxiety, I don't even know if this is medically true, but it really helped me, was when you are having a panic attack, when you realise you're having a panic attack, that is the peak of the panic attack. So you only know you're having a panic attack when you're right at its worst. So what I used to tell myself was, well, now I know I'm having a panic attack. And I never had one again that was like that one in the shopping centre that day. That was, I could have probably gone hospital with that one, do you know what I mean? Because it was really bad. But every time I felt like I was on a panic attack, I was going, well, it's okay, because it's going to be over in a minute. It's going to be over in a minute, because this is the peak. And I never had another one again. I never had another panic attack of that magnitude ever again. Obviously, my anxiety was still very much there, But once I told myself that when you feel that panic attack, it's nearly finished, because you know, you read all sorts, don't you? I was like, your body's only got enough adrenaline to keep you in a panic attack for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you're having one, just think, right, well, I'm 2 minutes in, so like 3 minutes and it'll all be over. And it was just like, it's this huge amount of small wins that you have over your brain of taking control of your brain back.
Yeah.
That, you know, you can tell your brain to be quiet. You can tell your anxiety to shut up. You can tell your panic attacks, I'm not bothered about you, because you'll be gone in a minute.
Yeah.
And it's this accumulation of things that really help.
Do you know what though, Cam? What you're explaining, like, is you've got the knowledge, you've done the work, and you've educated yourself on those things. It's one of the reasons I personally believe that, like, psychology or mental health should be a key subject in schools, because what your biggest problem was, I believe, from what you've told me, is that you didn't understand what was going on. And there's nothing more terrifying than that, when you can't go, I don't understand this, like, why, you know, and you've got no answers. And because, like you say, like, particularly men in construction, are a lot less likely to put their hand up and go, struggling, don't know what's going on, because you're worried about all the stigma stuff. But I think if we all just had this core knowledge, imagine if you were taught that at school.
If I knew what a panic attack was, then
exactly,
I'd have known what was happening.
This is what I mean. I believe it could make such a massive difference, because it doesn't bear thinking about, but thankfully you chose to fight your anxiety and your thoughts, whereas it could have gone the other way. You could have surrendered to it, in which case it would have been the alternative. And unfortunately, that is the story for so many people. You know, particularly in our industry, it's the statistics are horrendous.
Oh, definitely. I think there's a lot of combating it with drinking, drugs and stuff, because
mask
100%. Because when I've been doing this for a while now, I'm getting out of the house and stuff like that. I'm thinking, right, I'm going to sort of reintroduce myself into society as much as I can. So
because I don't want to skip bits here, because it's important. So you got after that run.
Yeah. So
how did things play out after that?
So after that run, I started going out, and I couldn't do the run again. I could not do that. I tried to.
Legs fucked.
I tried to run. I couldn't get past 1.5 kilometers. I just couldn't do it. I don't know what. That was something completely different. That wasn't a run that time. That was something completely different. I don't know what that was. But I tried to run as much as possible. But I was doing, 1.5 kilometers. Then I'd walk for 20 minutes. And every day I was doing more walking, and it was, I wasn't listening to music. I wasn't on my phone. I was just walking, and I was applying what they said to me in therapy about taking in your surroundings and being present in the moment and stuff. And that's what I needed. I needed to stop worrying about what was going to happen in the future that hadn't even happened, and worry about what was going on right now, the moment I'm in. So I started to take the days as wins every single time I did something. So every single day I'd go out on a walk. Every single day I'd try and stay outside for as long as possible. I'd try to, I was still being very sick every day because I was still in a heightened state of anxiety, but I was slowly learning and researching, and I was on my walks. I'd go out and I'd listen to a podcast about anxiety. Like when I felt like I could, I was like, right, so I'm going to learn about anxiety. I think I bought every single audio book on anxiety possible. So I was like, I'm going to learn. Like you say, it's very important to learn about what's going on. But the more I learned, the better I felt. And like I say about the panic attack fact that I'd heard, it might have been on one of these podcasts, but that really helped me. So I was like, there's got to be more knowledge in here. There's got to be more knowledge in here that's going to help me. So every day I go on these walks, and every day I'd listen to these podcasts, and it did really start to help me. Yeah. But I mean, when I started to try and see me mates again, it was for 10 minutes. Yeah. It was for very, very short periods of time. And obviously I'd spoke to him online and sort of explained everything I was going through. And I got my best mate to talk to him and say, because we're all a very, very tight group of mates. But
how was your mate's reaction to it? Like, did they get it? Did they support you?
Straight away, do you know what? Not one person said anything. And the reactions were, and I wish I'd known this before, because the reactions weren't even like, come on, mate. They were like, okay, sound, no worries. Like, as long as you're all right.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, obviously I'm really struggling with mental health. And like, yeah, well, as long as we know what it is and you're all right, then like, what can we do? And I was like, if I'd have just known from the start that they were going to be like that, because I thought, and like I said a few times, I thought it was going to be, oh God, Cam's gone mental, and they're all slagging me off behind my back.
Yeah,
but when it got to the point where I didn't even care about that anymore, and I did tell him, it was just like, it was like a broken arm. It was like, oh, do you need an arm with anything? Just let me know. Or if you need me to nip shops and grab you any food or out, just let me know. Yeah. And that was like, to me, I was like, oh my, I wish I'd known that. And I think in a lot of friend groups, your boys would rather you just know. Like, you'd rather know.
1,000,000%, mate. I think anxiety is one of the worst, so Cam, isn't it? Because it plays into that. Anxiety in itself is going to make you think the worst of the given situation.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of the worst things to come out with, I guess, because of the anxiety of talking about anxiety. It's like this.
It's never ending spiral. That's why people say, you start spiraling, because once you start, you don't stop. You just make yourself so much worse, don't you? To the toilet.
Yeah, of course, man, absolutely.
Yeah, crazy.
And we're back. Quick toilet stop. So Cam, we were at the stage where you'd sort of opened up to your mates, which thankfully, as many times, the response is a lot better than you always internally think it's going to be. How did things move on from there?
So after that, I think I started to. I was still very, quite struggling at this point, but I now had the added bonus of being able to at least go around to my mate's house, not for long, but I could go around to my mate's house, and a huge part of getting better for me was the fact that they just didn't treat me different, and my family didn't treat me different, and people didn't. I mean, at this point, I don't think I was back at work yet because I was still off with vertigo. But I started to, tell one of the other lads at work, who's, one of my best mates as well. And he was like, oh, I hope you're all right. Like, why don't you just tell me? And it felt like everybody that I was telling was just going, why don't you just tell me? Like, it wasn't this huge, massive thing that I was trying to hold back with both arms. When in reality, it was just like, oh, just let us know and let us know what we can do to help. Like, I was like, oh, you think I'm crazy now, don't you? Not at all. Like, everyone struggles with it. Do you know how many people struggle with it? And I was like, oh my God, this is helping. I mean, I got to the point where I thought we'd actually booked a holiday to go to Barcelona. And I did not want to go.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I did not want to go on that holiday. But I think because I was on the surface getting better in the eyes of everybody, I think I was trying to run before I could walk with it all. And I remember I was still quite unwell, but I was getting better. But I jumped too fast into it. I said, yeah, I'm going to book this holiday to Barcelona. I remember the night before the holiday, I didn't sleep at all. And usually because of excitement, getting up early. I was up at 3 a.m, drinking Desperados, trying to be like, right, get ready for the airport. Because if I have a few drinks, I'll be all right. I'll get onto it. It's like it took 2 drinks to get back to normal human base level. Yeah. Then you carried on. But I'd been to the doctors beforehand, and I'd sort of said, I'm feeling a bit better. And they were like, oh, we'll have some sertraline then. And I was like, I didn't want it. I didn't want the antidepressants to start with. I just want to make it very clear, I've got no problem with antidepressants, but it was just something in me that I didn't want them. And so they said, oh, we've got these beta blocker things, propranolol or something. They'll stop your panic attacks. I was like, I'm not really having panic attacks anymore, but I'm still feeling quite anxious. And they gave me this other thing, and I didn't know what it was. And they were like, take that before you go on your flight and you'll feel better. And I was like, I don't know what it was. And for some reason I didn't check because I was doing that much research on everything. It had just slipped through the net. And so we got to the airport. I was having a terrible time. Through security, I'm like on the edge of a panic attack. I'm like taking these propranolols. I think you're meant to take a certain amount. I was having like 2 or 3, then having a beer. And I was like, it's going to slow my heart rate down. I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to feel a bit more chilled out. And then I had one of those other tablets that they gave me. I stood up the whole flight by the toilet. The whole flight to Spain, I was stood by the toilet, making sure that no one else went in that toilet. in case I needed to go. So I still had, and it was the worst experience in my life being on that plane. I felt like why have I done this? Why have I left the house? Like, even though I've been going out, why on earth have I got on a plane? And it turns out, which is probably, I mean, I don't know what they were thinking at the time, but them tablets they gave me made me so unwell. It turns out that they'd given me antipsychosis tablets, because I'd rang my sister and said, "What is this?" Because my head is spinning. I got, from the second I got off that plane, my head was spinning 360, panic attack after panic attack after panic attack, which I'd not been having for a long time. And I rang my sister, who's a paramedic, and she said, "What if they give you?" And do you know what? I tried to find the name of it. I can't remember it, but she was like, "That's to treat antipsychosis. What if they give you that for? Don't take any more of that." And apparently, it's quite well known as well for, if they use it to treat anxiety, it shouldn't be used to treat anxiety. It's just sort of, it can be used to treat anxiety. So it sent me into the biggest spiral of my life. I'm now in Spain. All I wanted to do was be at home in my garden. I was like, why am I doing this? And do you know what? My mates, that holiday, they were so unbelievably understanding. I've never seen anything like it in my life. We'd be sat in a park having some lunch, and I'd be lying behind a bush being sick on the floor. And I'd come back over and they'd be like, "You all right? Are you good? Let's carry on." And they never said one thing about it. It's like, I remember the worst part of that was I was at a bus stop with them all, and we were waiting for a taxi, and there's a full bus stop of people. And I was just thrown up everywhere. And it's like thrown up in the middle of Manchester. And every single person that looked over, they were just looking at him like, "What?" And like sort of shielding around me, protecting me from it. And I was thinking,
fair play, mate.
I can't believe it. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
safe to say, I didn't take one more of them tablets afterwards. And I think it's very, very important to research in depth what they give you before you take it. Because like I say, the NHS are amazing. But it did feel like a sort of, there's your tablets, there's your thing. Come back if you're going to kill yourself. See you later, bye. And that was all I felt like I had.
I've got quite strong feelings on it, Cam, to be fair, with the medication when it comes to mental health. First of all, I'm not anti-medication before anyone says that, because I know when people are in crisis, if they're at that point and they're considering taking their own life, absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
But it's that gap between it's symptom and cause, isn't it? So the symptom is whatever you're exhibiting. That can be treated with medication short term, but the cause has got to be explored with deeper research. Unfortunately, obviously the NHS are under pressure. They've got turnaround times, and their results are quantified by like, okay, he presented with this issue, gave him pill, tick, fixed.
Yeah.
You know, and realistically, on like a person, human to human level, it's never gonna. Even a lot of the time, if they find a symptom and they fix it with medication, if you don't treat the underlying cause, it will just morph into something else. So it'll manifest as some other kind of mental health condition. It's quite a common phenomenon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, you then just become fully dependent on that thing. And like you say, if you are in crisis, do get these things, because these things do work for a reason. This is just my personal experience with, I don't know why, but I think it was because even though I was depressed, that's the one thing I didn't want to tell myself I was. I'd told myself I was anxious beyond all beliefs. I told myself I was at the end of my tether, but I just, for some reason, didn't want to call myself depressed, even though I was. So when I think just the word antidepressant had sort of triggered something in me where I was like, well, that's not me, so I don't want it, so don't give it to me. And then when I got back from this holiday, I was like, right, I'm not taking anything now. So like, obviously I didn't take any more of those tablets, the antipsychotic tablets they gave me. I had these propranolol things, and I remember taking it because I still had a few sessions left with my therapist, which was going really, really well. And that was, I think the main thing for me was that really sort of brought me back into being grounded. which is a huge thing for me because I've spent so long dissociated that as soon as I was grounded, I was having problems, but they were normal people problems. Like, people don't like flying. Obviously, mine was very heightened, but I could look at that and go, that's a human problem to have.
Yeah, yeah.
At least I'm not out. At least I'm not in my bedroom staring at the ceiling. So she started to ground me back into the real world a bit more. You know, like, my legs are killing because I've been on a run. 2 months ago, I'd be dying for my legs to be killing because I went on a run. I couldn't even think of what a run was. Do you know what I mean? I was just focusing on trying to sleep because I was awake. It was so all of this is like, this is how I shifted my mindset a lot, because I was like, if I'm having these problems, I'm well enough to a point to know what's going on. And that's all that mattered to me. So how I attack anxiety, and I think a huge thing for attacking anxiety is to log every single win, no matter how small it is, refer back to it, and then do something slightly bigger the next time. If somebody had told me that at the start, I reckon it would have sped up my getting better so fast, because, like you say, it's a mental health problem.
Yeah.
When you start to understand what's going on, it shrinks in size. So it's got to the point, I'm back from holiday now. I'm now trying to do this couch to 5K run thing. So I'm getting out, I'm getting healthy, because I'd not been eating much because I couldn't really keep anything down. I was being very sick. I lost 3 stone, which was not a good way to lose 3 stone.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
It was the worst way to, stick to Manjaro or whatever, but don't go through chronic anxiety. But I'd lost 3 stone, so I was feeling better in myself, even though it wasn't a healthy thing to do. And it wasn't like I was making myself sick, it was the anxiety.
Yeah.
But I'd lost all this weight, so I was lighter, I could run. I started going on a run every single day, religiously. Like, you could not have paid me £1 million to take that run away from me. That was my thing. And the fitness and the getting out in the fresh air and the grounding myself was giving me such a big bit of normality. The fact that I decided I'm going to go back to work at this point. Again, run before you can walk. Make sure you're 100% feeling better before you start to do these things. Because every time I had these baby steps that were wins, I thought, right, I'm going to just get back to living my normal life now. You can't do that with anxiety. You can't do that whilst recovering from mental health. When you've been to the peak of mental health, you can't then just go back to living your life when you think you might be able to. Went back to work, and I was going to jobs that were an hour away, and the lads are just going like, just get in the van. Like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, no, I'm driving. I'm driving myself, because if I need to leave, I can leave. And they're going, what do you mean, lad? Like, because they still think I've just been off with vertigo. They don't know everything that's been going on, because I was so worried about the scaffolding lads knowing. Yeah. Because I thought, if anyone's going to take the piss out of me, it's going to be them, innit? Do you know what I mean? They're going to be the ones. So I drive to all these jobs. I decided to take, and this was a very impulsive behaviour, but I thought, well, I need to, a new car will make me happy. Bear in mind, I'm in thousands of pounds worth of debt from having all this time off work and doing all this stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I decided to go and get a £4,500 loan out to buy a car, just because I thought it would make me happy and it would make me feel better about, well, if I'm driving to jobs at work, I might as well have a nice car. Didn't help at all. Awful decision, just drove me into debt. But it was the fact that I still felt like I couldn't tell the lads at work, even though I've worked with these boys for like 8 years.
Yeah.
We've been through everything together. And yeah, then we dick about and we slag each other off all day long, to the point where, you know what construction's like. Someone could come in from off the street and go, why do you hate each other? No, we don't. We love each other. This is why we act like this. It's because we're like a big group of brothers. But for some reason, I still thought I couldn't tell them. And then just slowly, one by one, I started to tell them, I've been really struggling with him. And some of them to this day don't even know. Like, this would be the first time they hear about any of this. But the more people I told, the better I felt, because I was like, I can be around you now, no stress. I can be around you. I can be around you. I can be around my family, my friends. And it was like every time I told someone, it shrunk to the point where I can go to work, because if I need to leave, I can leave, because they're not bothered. They're just like, you sort yourself out, mate. No one said a thing. No one said, stop putting it on. What's up with you? All these things that you imagine people are going to say to you.
When you're opening up to people, Cam, did you have many people that sort of, or did you have anyone that was like, "Do you know what, actually, mate, I've been through shit myself"?
That was honestly one of the biggest things I experienced, and especially up to now, the amount of people that come to me and say, you know that thing that you had? Do you know that thing where you felt like you were going to pass out and stuff, and you felt like you were being sick all the time? I've got that. And then I'm like, I know exactly how to help you. I know exactly, 'cause I'm now equipped with the tools to help you. So as the time went on, I just started feeling better every day, and this ball of anxiety is reducing in my stomach, because I'm now not only getting on with my life, I'm running every day, I'm going to the gym now. I can go back into shops. I was challenging myself to do things. I'd go and stand in Sainsbury's for half an hour. I'd just stand there, or I'd mooch about and I'd say, I can do half an hour in Sainsbury's, so I can do an hour at work. I've done an hour at work, so I can go and have a Nando's. Do you know what I mean? I can leave at any point. No one's forcing me to be at any of these places, but like, it was every time I did something, I could do something else. And with anxiety, honestly, if anybody is seriously struggling with anxiety, the one thing that helped me so much is record these things. And when you feel like you can't do something, revert back to what you've already done with anxiety. So like, I can't go to work today, but I went to work yesterday and I didn't pass out and throw up. And so why can't I do that today? And it's not a quick fix. Like every time I thought, I'm going to go to Barcelona, I'm fixed. No, I wasn't fixed. I'm going to go and, buy a new car, do this. Recovery from anxiety is a slow tiptoeing uphill walk. It's not, I'm fine now. Next
so
day.
You're stealing territory back from it little bit by little bit, aren't you? It's like when it comes in, it takes over everything to the point that it becomes this loudest voice in your head and you can't hear anything else. If you were to sort of make an analogy of like the world map, as it were, when it strikes and it's at its worst, anxiety owns the whole thing. And then bit by bit, you have to take back each little country, each little part of that mind map, as it were. You have to wrestle back. Do you know what I mean?
The perfect way of putting it, because that's exactly what it is. Don't try to grab 3 or 4 countries at once. It's start with the very smallest thing, like the very smallest win, like walking to the end of the street for me.
Yeah.
It was getting out of the house. And because I knew I could do that, if I hadn't have had that tiny win of walking to the end of the street, I wouldn't have done it a little bit further, and I definitely wouldn't have done the run. I didn't think I could have done the run anyway. But if I hadn't have done these tiny little 20 steps, if I hadn't have done those 20 steps, I wouldn't be where I am now. It snowballs. This tiny win, if you log it mentally, refer back to it, they become bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually you get to a point where you don't feel like this big ball of anxiety in you all the time. And when you do feel that it's coming, you go, right, so you know how to battle it now. You know how to battle your own intrusive thoughts in your own brain. I'm going to have a panic attack. All right, I know how to deal with it. I'll be all right in a few minutes, whatever. You don't have a panic attack. I'm feeling anxious about going to work. And I've done it so many times now. All right, let me pass out in the supermarket. I don't care. Who's going to be asked? I'm going to pass out in the supermarket. It'll get me a chair, give me some water, and think I'm dehydrated. And it's these, you retrain your mindset piece by piece by piece, this little thing every day. I can't say it enough. Log them wins. Log them wins, because when you start doing that, it starts to curve and you start to come back.
Yeah, start to be more good than bad. I think with mental health, it's something, it never goes away. Like, you always live with it.
Yeah.
And again, I guess if you were to project that mind map, it's almost like, well, you've took back 95% of the territory, but that 5% is still there. And occasionally it will try and take back a couple more percent off you, and you have to fight them back to being where it is.
Yeah.
But what you keep saying is perfect. Like you develop a tool set to deal with the things that are there, so you can bring those wins in. And by you sharing your story like this, Cam, the thing that I refer to quite often is the value in trauma, because you've been through a fucking horrible situation that I wouldn't wish on anyone, because I know a little bit about how some of that felt, not fully, but a little bit, and you wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's horrible. But now you've been through that, you're in this unique position. You're one of the few that have been through it and come out the other side. You can now pass all that value and education and knowledge on to other people that are struggling. So people like you, mate, you're so fucking valuable. Like you can do so much good with what has happened to you, turn that shit experience into a real positive one by helping others, by being there and openly talking like you have today, and being there and able to offer advice, mate. What I'd say, I mean, you've got some great platforms. If you can bring that advice into it and, let people know, because the more people like you destigmatize it, the more people will be like, oh, you seen that guy that won that show? Like, turns out he struggled with anxiety. Fucking hell, you'd never have guessed. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
I mean, one of the things that I'm sat here, I was kind of sat here almost half grinning to myself, but I think one of the beautiful things about your story, and I don't want to like summarize it myself, but after listening to it, is one of the questions I was going to ask you, because you've been quite open with, like, when people have said, oh, what you going to do with the money from the show? You've said that you had debts to pay off.
Yeah.
Was that all related to this situation?
Yeah, very heavily related. It was, like buying that car out of pure impulse and all that time off work. That was when I racked up a lot of credit card debt of spending. Wow. And I think it's so important, especially now coming out the other side of this, where to a point I can very much say, like you said, it never fully goes away, but I fully know how to fight it now. Where even to this day, like, I'll have a little wave of anxiety, or I'll be in a room and I'll be like, oh, I wish I wasn't in here. But then I just go, yeah, well, I am. So from, not being able to go to the supermarket to being able to spend 3 weeks in someone else's complete control,
fucking
in
crazy.
rooms, in high pressure situations I'd have never been able to do.
Mate, that's brilliant,
You've got, I want people that struggle with anxiety and depression and think that there's no way I'm out. The people that are come around the toilet now, I want them to look at this and go, when you're going through hell, keep going, firstly, because there is actually another side. Yeah. And I love my life now. I mean, I've built brick by brick everything I've done out of the back end of this. My social media, doing TV, doing, just my job that I do now, just still scaffolding.
Yeah.
I'm so happy all the time. You see online, I'm creative, I'm happy, I love life to bits. I don't even think about that anymore. What I've just told you was 2021.
That ain't even that far away though, mate. That's the thing.
And that was firmly packed in a box there.
I really appreciate you unpacking it, mate. I really do, because I know it was hard. Do you know what I mean? I know at times you went back to those feelings, and so I really, really do appreciate it, mate. It's a huge privilege for me to be able to sit here and host these stories from people. But there's such a beauty to your story, and almost like a beautiful irony to it, in that you hit those depths to the point where you couldn't leave your room, and then fast forward to you battling it and overcoming it, to then going and doing something that would invoke anxiety in most ordinary people, to going on a TV show and putting yourself out there in that way, and then winning the fucking thing, and then using that winning money to pay off that debt. I mean, what a beautiful full circle
It really is
moment that is.
I think, honestly, that's why I think life is so beautiful, and that's why I enjoy it so much, is because if you can get through times like that, and I think genuinely when you think there is no hope left in the world, when you are, you live in a nightmare every single day and there's not a drop of hope, just know there is. You've just got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You've got to walk to the end of the road. You've got to go on your run, and then the next thing you know, you're loving life and you're doing huge things and you're challenging yourself. I do things that scare me a lot. I do things like I've talked on panels where that terrifies me. My voice shakes every single time I do it, but I do it because the bigger the thing you do, next time I feel anxiety and B&Q, I go, I want a TV show. What me on about? Do you know what I mean? I spent 3 weeks away doing something. I've spoken on panels in front of huge amounts of people. Why can't I just stay in this shot? And that's what I mean. You log the wins.
Like, I'm very sorry you went through that, but it's a fucking beautiful story.
I wouldn't change it. Honestly, it was the worst time of my life, but I think it's made me mentally the strongest person because I know how to battle every single thing. And not only do I know how to battle it, I can help other people do it. And that's the main thing. And I can say, I spent hours and hours and hours.
Would you ever do talks on it, Cam?
I'd love to. Honestly, I would.
I think, honestly, mate, I think you could do some incredible work in that space, particularly with your profile, utilise your profile. But I think your story, I've sat here captivated by it. And I think, I think you could do some real good, do it, whether it talks at organisations or, again, our industry, mate, construction. I know there's charities out there like the Lighthouse Club, Lighthouse Charity. I've had a couple of brilliant people from there, Rob and having a complete. I have to edit this bit out when I'm forgetting people's names. But I've had a couple of the amazing people from the Lighthouse Charity come on the podcast. And they do some incredible work, mate. They go around sites and will deliver mental health talks.
Oh, I know what you mean, actually, to be fair. I've seen them in the site cabins on the posters.
Yeah, normally dead bright imagery, but like anything, maybe not that bit in particular, but that kind of thing, mate. I think you could do incredible work.
I'd honestly love to, and I think it's people out of the construction industry like me and you that at the end of the day, we're just two blokes that you've gave me a platform to tell my story, whereas I would never have been able to do that on my own because I wouldn't have known how to. So now that I've shared this with you, then we can share this with others and help. And and that's all it takes is just two blokes chatting to each other, like saying, "Are you all right? Are you all right? What's going on?"
There's a few pivotal moments, mate. And when you came down the stairs and you said to your mum, "No," pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Of what previous guest a few weeks ago, Sam Wilkes, another incredible story, and he said of a similar thing. His mum, again, actually, he was in Thailand and having a real bad situation over there, and that same thing, phone call from his mum who said, like, "Are you okay?" And he'd been telling her repeatedly, I'm okay. Once he turned around and said, "I'm not," and he says it's like one word. He said "not," and that changed then his trajectory because he had said, "I'm not okay," and you said no.
That's it. And do you know what? I think for people that are worried, I need to speak to somebody, but I don't know what to say. Literally, the only thing you need, I overcomplicated it so much in my head where I was thinking, what am I going to say to people? Just literally go up to anybody that you're close to and just say, "Listen, I'm not doing very well. Can we have a chat?"
Yeah.
That's all it. Don't overcomplicate it. That's all it takes. I'm not feeling good. I'm not doing very well. Can we have a chat?
A few words, or in some cases, one word. Before I forget, Lee Anderson, Rob Muldoon, the Lighthouse lads, remembered. It's me, I'm getting old. So yeah, sorry mate, I was sat there thinking, fuck, I know it'll come back to me. But yeah, like I say, mate, it's such a small thing, but so big at the same time.
Oh, 100%. The amount of pressure it takes off. Just to tell people, and like I was saying, the more people are told, the better I felt, was because it was normalising it.
Yeah.
It was normalising it, and it was the broken leg healing. It was the anxiety going away, and it was like, I've had a right time of it. You don't even know, do you know what I mean? But I think people need to really remember that, it's easy to say, just talk to someone. But genuinely, that's sometimes all it can take.
Yeah.
Just say, "I'm not okay,"
It's a very powerful thing, mate. It really is. I know we talk pre-record as well about now you've been through your situation that you can see it will pick up the same sort of things in, you know, other lads that are in construction in particular? Like, I mean, from your experience, do you see a lot of it? People who are struggling
in construction, I think I see it a lot where people can be very depressed, and I think that's the main thing. That, you know, it's when you're going into work in the morning, if people are instantly hating the week. I mean, I remember walking to a cabin once, and a bloke. It was a Monday morning. I was like, "You know, mate, do you have a good weekend?" He went, "Oh, it needs to be Friday again." I'm like, no. I'm thinking, yeah, like I get it. We all say that to each other. Like, I wish it was Friday, but the way he said it to me, I was like, oh my God, if you can't enjoy day by day, every day is something different and new to offer, no matter what it is, even if you're at work. You know, that's what keeps me going. It's like anything could happen at any point, and I love it, which is like the opposite of anxiety, you know, isn't it? But people need to remember, like, if you're not enjoying your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm not saying you have to love it and jump out of bed every single morning.
Yeah.
But if you're waking up every single day and you're feeling genuinely down and depressed, like, I don't want to be here, that is then needs addressing.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, I don't like work, I don't want to graft. It's there's something else going on.
A lot of the time, mate, it's nothing to do with the work, is it? And the thing is, there's such a drink and drugs culture in the trades as well. A lot of masking, but then you get this weird thing where, like, you work hard and then you get to, I used to do it, mate, I'd get to Thursday. I used to go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at one stage.
Yeah.
Which was bad. And then even later on when it got down to, like, just waiting for the weekend, wait for that Friday night, go out Friday night, Saturday night. I don't know about you, mate, but, like, I always say, like, I've never had a problem with drink, but when I look back at my drinking behaviour, although I think culturally it was quite normal at the time, I used to drink to oblivion.
Oh,
Like
100% same here.
smashed. And that would be the thing. You'd work, you'd go out the weekend, you'd drink. Sunday was a write-off.
Yeah.
You'd probably still feel shit Monday, Tuesday. So by Wednesday, you're then looking forward to Friday again because you think that what makes you feel good is Friday night, Saturday night, getting drunk. Where in reality, those nights are actually destroying the 5 days of the week.
Exactly. It's just a never-ending cycle, isn't it? And especially when it becomes so normal to come in Monday still pissed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's
Glorified though, mate. That's the problem, isn't it?
It's funny, isn't it? Like, he's mad that he's coming steaming. But at the end of the day, like, if someone's coming in steaming on a Monday, they've been drinking all weekend. They're going to spend the rest of their week waiting for that weekend again. That is a one-way ticket to mental health issues.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Out of interest, mate, before we wrap it up, because there's one thing that I'm interested to touch on. When you did your therapy, did they pull your sort of, like, decline that you went through? Did they pull it back to that circumstance when you were 19? Was that ever touched on?
No, you know what? It was never touched on because I think that is something that at the time I never thought about. And I think there was a lot of stuff, you know, with my eating was eating's a huge thing for me now. Like, I'm very strict with diet plans, and I'm very active in the gym, and that's my crutch it keeps me going. I think I'd just given up. I think he'd given up with life completely without realising.
Yeah.
And I think I was one of those people that was dying for the weekend to come, you know, dying for Friday night or Saturday night, even if I wasn't going out drinking, even if it was just me sat around smashing takeaways into my mouth. But it got to the point where I was doing that 5-6 times a week.
So in reality, although when you look back, you think there was no one key moment, it was actually a prolonged period where you'd started to mistreat yourself.
100%.
Like, through what you were consuming and your lifestyle.
Yeah. So, like I say, just giving up. Like,
yeah,
I don't care what I eat. I don't care how big I get. I don't care about going out and exercising. I just want to lie here, watch Netflix, eat food and drink beer. And that was my whole life.
It's crazy, mate. And when you think, you know, that the education comes in and whether you yourself or somebody around you could have spotted it before and sort of before the break, as it were. Yeah, it's why the mind fascinates me, mate. You know, and behaviour.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's because I think it doesn't help because I am as I am. As in, I'm very always upbeat and happy and stuff like that. So
funny guy.
Even into my decline, I was still that guy. But But that's why I never noticed that I was getting so bad, because I was still loving life. And yeah, everything's great. But why have I stopped going to the gym? Why have I stopped going on walks? Why am I not enjoying my weekdays anymore?
Yeah,
Don't worry about that. I'm just having a great time, until it finally got too much and I snapped.
You know, man. Yeah. Well, as I say, mate, I was trying to end it on a fucking high as well with a show thing, and then I've pulled it back down. So sorry about that. I'll just find, like I say, it's the way my mind is working as we're talking. I'm thinking, you know, trying to piece it together myself, and then thinking about that. But as I said, mate, your story, I wasn't expecting that today, if I'm honest.
It's been a long time
From the bits that I've seen, but I truly am so thankful that you shared it and that you trusted me with your story, mate. I really am. And it will go a long way to helping others, and that's what we're all about.
100%.
If there is anyone listening to this, Cam, that is struggling or wants to ask you anything, are you okay with people reaching out to you?
100%. Like, if there's anything that people, you know, want to find out about anxiety, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling like you want to overcome something, just message me. If I see it, I will more than likely see it. If I see it, I will 100% respond to you. Just, if I'm the only person that you think you can talk to me then. Like,
Appreciate
just talk
that,
to
man.
me. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, we'll try and make it a bit more positive now. What's next?
What is next?
What do you want to do next?
So, I mean, I'd love to do more TV in the future. I think...
Mate, put it out there, man. You got to project that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think more TV. I'd love to do. You know, I'm going to use the rest of that money to reinvest into my content now. This is my time where I'm going to go. You know, I'm going to go to different countries and video myself in different countries. It's something that I've always dreamed of doing, and it's something that, you know, because of everything I've been through, I'm now so strong that I can do that. I'll happily travel to Thailand or, you know, Canada, America by myself and make videos. And
do you know what,
like
mate?
that.
Honestly, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do at all, but touching on this kind of stuff, I think people really attach to that vulnerability and openness and honesty. And not only that, you could do so much good work in doing it as well. So, mate, I'll be keeping an eye. And any brands that want to get involved and speak to Cam about any collaborations, the man's all ears.
Please do. Yeah, my inbox is open.
Yeah, mate, listen, I'll look forward to seeing what the next move is, man. I wish you all the best with it. There's so much you can do, mate. I'll connect. I said before recording, there's a few people I want to connect you with, mate, and yeah, I'll be watching.
Yeah,
watching
I
the
appreciate
rise.
it. Definitely.
But yeah, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming in and talking to me. And as I said again, like, for trusting me with the platform. Is there anything that you want to say that we haven't touched on?
I'd just say, you know, just keeping the positive mindset. This is something that I do every single night, and I think it's good. And I wanted to share it with people. Is, you know, before you go to sleep every single night, make sure that you know, when I shut my eyes, I think of every single good thing that's happened that day. It can be the smallest thing, and I think this comes back to, you know, the small wins, but the best routine for your mental health, when you're going to sleep at night, think of every single good thing that's happened, even if it was a laugh with your mate, if it was you had a nice meal in the canteen, anything. And if you do that, you'll go to sleep feeling amazing, you'll wake up feeling amazing. And this is why I'm now in such a positive mindset all the time. Appreciate yourself, appreciate your small wins.
Love that, mate. It's a great place to end it. For everyone listening, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying with us. Please like, share, subscribe, all that boring stuff that I always ask you guys to do. And I'll catch you soon on the next one. Cam, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Mate. Cheers.
Thank you, man.